The guarantees in verse number 5, no one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Oh, isn't that a great promise? No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. And he's saying this to Joshua. He's saying this directly to Joshua. Why is he having to say these things to Joshua? He's also saying, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Again, why? Joshua is a man, is a human being just as we are. He faces the same insecurities and doubts and weaknesses that we do. God is encouraging him as he does us today through his word. He's saying, you know, no one will be able to stand against you. And all of you, it's the same for us. Spiritually, the victory has been won. It's won. So oftentimes we get these fearful attitudes. We're afraid of the world. And he's saying, you shouldn't be afraid. I'm going to be with you. No one will be able to stand against you. I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's the same promises that he gives us today. It's the same promise. So we, just as Joshua, should be strong, bold, and encouraged to accomplish the mission that God has given us. He's given directive to Joshua here to go in and take this land and to be prepared. He knows that no one will be able to stand against him. So it's a blessed assurance. It's something that we can look forward to having today as Joshua did then. Now, remember that enthusiasm word? You know, that's a key part of being a good leader, is being enthusiastic. And I wonder, you know, was Joshua a little bit hesitant about this call? It seems like God is having to really encourage and lift Joshua up to step up to what he's been called to do. It says in verse 6, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their fathers, to their forefathers, to give them. Again, the task at hand is to go in and conquer, to finally get this land that has been promised. Be strong and courageous is a key word here. Going along with this enthusiasm, the quality of having courage or being courageous is mentioned several times in this one section that we're studying. What's going on? Be strong and courageous. I feel a struggle going on for Joseph. The same struggle I think that we as Christians have today in the culture in which we lived, and the culture in which we live today, requires a little bit more being strong and courageous. We're just seeing the beginning signs of the persecution of the church here in the United States. And I believe it's going to get far worse than what we're seeing today. And it's going to be important that we, as we look at these scriptures that we're studying today, that we understand that God has the same calling on our life that He did on Joshua. He wants us to be leaders in our communities, in our families, in our churches. He wants us to be bold. He wants us to be strong and courageous as we face the challenges ahead, just as He did with Joshua. And Joshua struggles. We struggle with stepping up and fulfilling the call that God has for us, and engaging in our communities with love, but in a servant attitude, as Christ gave us the perfect model for. Alright, so in this chapter, Joshua is given two primary assignments. One, to conquer Canaan, and two, to consign the land among the tribes of Israel. So he's going in to conquer, then conquer and divide, conquer the lands, and then divide it among the 12 tribes. And in verse 7, be strong and very courageous. Again, that encouragement. We as leaders in our communities? Do we have that encouragement? Are we encouraging in our family situations? Are we encouraging with our pastor as he faces the challenges that he faces? Encouragement is critical. It's important. We see this here. Be strong and be very courageous, and be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Again, being strong and courageous is repeated yet again. And then we start, again, the reinforcement of the law. The law that Moses left behind for the people of Israel. This law is not simply to be admired or put it in a cabinet. Or as we'll talk about a lot in these studies and in my workshops and things about health, is putting God in a box. Putting Him in these nice little categories. I'll listen and I'll follow these parts of the law, but don't make me apply the law to this area of my life. I want to keep that for myself. I want to keep that separate from God. And he's telling Joshua here how important it is that he keep that law in front of him all the time. And again, being strong and courageous and being careful to obey. All right, next in verse 8, do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and succeed. And successful. I think one of the challenges that we face as a church, we know from George Barna that there's a very small percentage of professing Christians that are actually reading their Bible. Some read it, but they don't study it or meditate upon it. I think what we've done in this culture is we've kind of given God the leftovers. We've gotten so busy that now we just, if we get time, we'll read the Bible. If we get time, we'll say a prayer. If we get time, we'll serve our neighbor. We have been so caught up in the world. Romans 12, do not be conformed. And I think we have. We've conformed to the world. We're chasing after the same goals that the world chases after. And as a result, we've lost His Word. His Word has been lost in the church. How many Christians are reading the Bible on a daily basis? It's a small percentage according to the statistics. We profess to be a Christian, but yet we don't know the law. We don't know anything about His book. If we don't read His book, we don't get a full appreciation of who God is. So it's so important that he stresses it here. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. So in the context, this meditate is not just sitting here and meditating on the Word. Meditate means in this verse to speak or to utter. So we're constantly speaking the Word. We're reading it out loud. We're speaking it out loud. We're memorizing and learning His Word, His Scriptures, so that they never leave us. And we don't stray from them. We don't move to the right or the left. We stay focused on what God has taught us in His Word. The only way we can stay on the right path is to know the directions. We won't travel across the country without first pulling out something that's going to give us an indicator of the direction we need to go. But yet we want to function in this world, in this time in which we live, and we don't want to pull out the roadmap to success, His Word. We don't spend any time in it. So it's critical for us, just as it was for Joshua and the people of Israel, to spend time in the Word.